the Buddha is for all who wants to be free forevermore.
Ahipassiko, come and see, you know, the teaching of peace, the teaching of love, the teachings of the Buddha is for all who want to be free forevermore.
But don't just believe, investigate. Do not simply accept what you hear or see, not even if it's uttered by me.
So don't just agree, you've got to verify. When you know that it's good and it's praised by the wise, then live up to it the rest of your life.
Any obstacle, come and see, you know, the teaching of peace, the teaching of love, the teachings of the Buddha is for all who want to be free forevermore. Any obstacle, come and see, you know, the teaching of peace, the teaching of love, the teachings of the Buddha is for all who want to be free forevermore. The teachings of the Buddha is for all who want to be free forevermore. To this very interesting and creative event organized by the Cradle. This is Daniel Yeo, your host for this afternoon's program, Up Close and Personal with Dhamma Music Influencers. For those who have just joined in, please share on your Facebook watch party so that we can attract more people from all over the world to watch this event. Now, very good afternoon. And we started this idea a couple of weeks ago, where I watched a live Dhamma event, and I saw Brother Muihan talking about using digital technology for Dhamma propagation work. And I had a word later with one brother, and therefore this idea of doing this live Facebook show was born after that conversation. And this afternoon, we are very honored to have invited two very special people. And they are special in terms of propagating Dhamma through music in the world. So we have with us here, the first guest is Datuk Sri Victor Wee, and the second guest we have is Tan Huat Chye. Now, later you can put in your question, what is Didi? Yeah? So keep the question coming as we go along, and stay on throughout, because at the end of each 20-minute segment, the invited guest will sing one of their Chengming Qu, or one of their famous tune, to invite more friends to come. And as of now, I would like to invite Datuk Victor Wee to come and meet our guest here. Good afternoon, Datuk.
Well, good afternoon.
So here we are. Finally, we meet my role model, my idol, and I'm sure he's a role model of many Buddhist friends all over the world. And this is Datuk Victor Wee. And Datuk, I remember I met you many years ago. I believe that was in 1985 in Singapore. And you have been such an inspiration to me in many ways. And the first chit chat that we're going to have, I'm going to throw you these questions. I hope to hear you share with our friends. I'm sure many of us are very curious. You are very much a household name in Buddhist hymns. And could you share with us what inspired you to use Buddhist Dhamma songs, to compose Dhamma music, to spread Dhamma back in the 70s? All right, over to you, Datuk.
All right, thank you, Daniel. It's very nice to meet up with you again. And 1985, isn't so long ago. Well, I actually come from Malacca, and we come from the other guest on this program is Brother Tan Huat Chye. We come from the same temple. It is called Sekiai Temple. Sekiai means Sakyamuni or Sakya Muni, and it means Sakya, which is the clan for the Buddha, and Muni means the sage, the second sage. So we come from the Malacca Temple, and Malacca Temple, Sekiai, is very strong in performing arts. So in that temple, we sing English Buddhist songs, but these songs are written in the late 1800s and early 1900s. So that's a long time ago. Then as a young student in the Sunday school, we've been singing these songs for a long time. And after a while, there's not enough songs. So then I decided to write some songs without even knowing that these songs are later on going to be an instrument for spreading the Buddha Dhamma. So especially when I was in school and in the universities, I started writing songs. And first, I introduced the songs to some Buddhist groups in the universities. And to my amazement, they actually loved the songs. So they asked me to come in week after week to lead the songs. And the songs were actually performed in Brickfield's Temple. Brickfield's Temple, which is really the center of Theravada Buddhism in Kuala Lumpur and also maybe for Malaysia. So I introduced the songs there. And then the songs begin to get popular by themselves. People started singing the songs, they get inspired by the songs. And then these songs are now used for Dhamma propagation, later on for Dhamma propagation. That is how it started.
Thank you. And going back to Brickfield, who inspired you most in this journey of using Dhamma songs music to spread Dhamma? Who was the key cornerstone of inspiration, Datuk?
Well, even before talking about Brickfield, I must actually go back to Malacca again. The monk that actually inspired us a lot, he was a Sri Lankan monk who had been a Catholic priest before he became a Buddhist monk. His name was Ananda Mangala. And he sings very well because he was trained in the church. And so we started our musical interest in Malacca. And later on, when I go over to Brickfield's Temple, because I was working in Kuala Lumpur, it was the Chief Reverend K. Sri Dhammananda. I remember that the first time when I held a singing session in the pagoda,
Wow.
in the center of Theravada Buddhism, people were, some of the seniors were saying, hey, what is this guy doing? Well,
Singing in the pagoda.
Playing the guitar in the pagoda where the Buddha relics are there. So they complained to Chief Reverend.
Yeah.
But
what was his response?
Chief Reverend, they were blasted by Chief Reverend. Chief Reverend says that if this is our attitude, we'll not get young people into the temple anymore. Wow. So he supported us all the way for the music, and he later on started playing the hymns even in his room. Chief Reverend. So he was really the person who's giving us the support to say, carry on, what you're doing is a good thing. Although coming from a Theravada tradition, very strictly trained in Sri Lanka, such a thing is not ever done. So he was one step further, because he could see that this is a good idea that can actually be promoted. And
I could see here the late Chief Reverend, that we call him Chief. In Singapore, we call him Chief. And he is an example of a leader with vision. And you could see that this is really the way forward back in the 70s. And that is really amazing demonstration of visionary leadership. And next, that I would like to bring another question is, I remember back in 1985, you came to Singapore and you stayed at the Singapore Buddhist Mission, right?
That's right. That's right.
And I was told by the resident monk there, I couldn't remember who, I think it was Venerable Udita, who asked me to buy a packet of hor fun. He said, tapao the hor fun, bring up to second floor for a guest. And I went up, I was 15 years old, and I went up there. It was during the Vesak celebration, and I knocked on the door and I said, Brother Victor, and that's the Brother Victor. And that was my first interaction with you. All right, that leads us to the second question, Datuk. You released several albums, and I remember the first title is called Moments of Inspiration, right? And share with us the reaction from the Buddhist communities when you first released your first album.
Well, the first album was actually built on success. Actually, what happened was that in the late 1970s, I recorded using a very old tape recorder, using my room as the recording studio. I did, a recording of about 60 minutes of Buddhist hymns. And then the hymns became popular, and people go to the temple to ask Chief Reverend for copies of the song. So Chief Reverend was happily copying, duplicating the cassette tape. And we felt that the reproduction was very bad, a lot of sound, because it is an old tape recorder. So we said that when we came to 1980s, we felt that maybe we should go to the studio and get it recorded properly. By which time, Brother Huat Chye has written some very beautiful songs. So we decided to pull them together, bringing together some friends from Malacca, from Seri, as well as some other friends that we have in Kuala Lumpur. We formed the Wayfarers and got it recorded. And that album actually took the Buddhist world by storm, actually. Everybody became excited because that was the first time that you have songs like that. And so the songs became popular. Then after the first album, I came up with the second album before I went off for my master's in the United States. And then when I was in Singapore, I think those two albums were already out in 1985, Daniel. So actually the songs were very well received by the Buddhist public. And the song have actually crossed boundaries. And I was even surprised that the song has reached the Himalayas in North India, in a place called Ladakh. When a monk from Ladakh came and said, "Oh, your brother Victor, we sing your songs in Ladakh." I said, "Where is Ladakh? I didn't know that." And he says, "Our children sings your songs." And then I planted a wish in my heart. I said, "I must go to Ladakh one day," which I did. And I've been going there repeatedly. In the Himalayas, the songs have actually flown to the Himalayas. So this is the wonderful thing about using Buddhist hymns. They got a way of crossing boundaries.
That's right. Thank you, Datuk. And for those who have just joined us, welcome to this session of Up Close and Personal with Dhamma Music Influencers, organized by D Creator, hosted by Daniel Yeo from Singapore. And here with us is Datuk Sri Victor Wee. For me, a Singaporean, to pronounce the word Datuk Sri is quite a mouthful, so I hope I'm doing a good job, Datuk. And next, please write down your questions. I'm sure some of you have a lot of questions about our guests, under what conditions they write, what inspired them to do so much work for the work. Now, coming back to Datuk, tell us how do you think your work has shaped the way the Buddhist music scenes in this part of the world?
Well, actually, before I started writing songs and before the Wayfarers came out, there was no such thing. In the Buddhist community, we were basically doing chanting as the main way of the youth getting together. And since the Buddhist albums came out, the first and second album came out, and people started singing, and then the song actually went right through the whole of Malaysia, and I've even gone to Singapore, and some of the songs have gone to Australia and all that, So this, I believe, has given an impulse to Buddhist music. And also we also have Brother Huat Chye, who is a member of the Wayfarers. We have actually sung his beautiful songs in our albums. And he came up with the Chinese album, I Chantan, which was actually initially funded by the Buddhist Jam Fellowship. And that actually brought almost, you could say, a revolution in Chinese music. So you have the English music revolution, followed by the Chinese music. And these have actually crossed international borders and has now given the impulse to Buddhists, Now we begin to take Buddhist songs as something that is for granted, but we didn't know that. Actually, by that time, such a thing was not done before. It is actually something very new for the community. And this becomes a very important door for spreading Dhamma. It's a Dhamma door.
And I was one of the benefited. I benefited tremendously by listening to Datuk's song and also Brother Huat Chye, which we will call upon later. And the last question to Datuk is, what is your message for those up and coming, aspiring Buddhist music influencers in the world?
I think that it is important that we make something out of our life. Very often we use our life just for ourselves, to earn money, to enjoy, to be happy with ourselves. I think we should also spare a thought of what we can do for the Buddhist community. And please don't underestimate the power of music. If you are musically inclined, you should use this instrument in order to try to reach out to the hearts of people. Music has a way of reaching the hearts of people that sometimes even words in the lecture might not be able to do, because it touches both your heart and mind. So I will ask the young people who are musically inclined to make use of performing arts, to use it a way of reaching out. Sometimes if you ask people to come for a Dhamma talk, they might not come. And sometimes you cannot get a crowd for a Dhamma talk. But if there's a musical performance, you can get much more people there. And they might have actually started from Buddhist music, right? But after that, they proceed on to other things. Like, for instance, the people who sang along with me in the Wayfarers, many of them have actually now become serious meditators, actually. They become Dhamma teachers, meditators, and all that. So you start off with music. It is a door for Dhamma. Once you go in, you begin to enrich yourself with the beauty of Dhamma. You become inspired by Dhamma, and then you move on to other areas for your own spiritual development. And that music I see as a starting point. So if you're good in music, you do have the talent, you got the inspiration like yourself, Daniel. It is to kind of plant a seed into the hearts of people, and based on the karma that they have, it will take them in different directions to grow in Dhamma.
All right. Thank you, Datuk. So the last thing, for those who are new to this event, welcome, and please start to share on your Facebook party so that more people can come and benefit from this Facebook Live organized by D. Crader and hosted by Daniel Yeo from Singapore. Now, Datuk, would like to invite you to sing part of your song. And what song will you be performing for us this afternoon?
Well, I've been asked to prepare. I must actually confess that I have not been singing for a long time. And my guitar has gone to sleep.
Okay, so it's time to work it out.
I will sing for you The Little Pal. Little Pal, because it is actually practically the very first song that I have written. It is a song about a father. You can take it both ways. It's a father that has to leave this world, or a father that has to leave the family because of some addiction. You know, everybody begins with ideals in their hearts, but sometimes they go sideways and they lose their way. So this is the father who tells the son, son, please don't do the mistake that I have. Try to be a good to your mother and be true to yourself, and then try to be the man your daddy wished that he could have been, right? So this is a breath from the father telling to the son, please don't do the mistake that I have, but you be the best you can.
Okay, sounds very positive in this COVID-19 situation. And let's give a silent pause by saying, yeah, and type, yeah, everybody. And Datuk, please, the mic is yours.
Okay, thank you. What I couldn't be, little pal, I want you to be, little pal. I want you to sing, to love and to play, and be good to mom while dad's away. Little pal, if daddy goes away, promise you be good from day to day. Be as mother says and never sin. Be the man your daddy might have been. I'll pray every night, little pal, that you come out right, little pal. So till we meet again, come on knows where or when. Pray for me now and then, little pal. Little pal, if daddy goes away, promise you be good from day to day. Do as mother says and never sin. Be the man your daddy might have been. Be the man your daddy might have been.
Thank you very much, Dato. And for friends who have just joined us, those who love Dato singing, please type in yay or clap, clap, clap. And remember to watch Facebook on your Facebook party, as I was told by Brother Muihan, then more people can come and join in this session of Up Close and Personal with our Dhamma Music Influencer, organized by D. Crader. Welcome for those who have just joined us. And we just had Datuk Sri Victor Wee with us. And next I'm going to call upon another of my influencer, somebody who has influenced me in my life, not just Dhamma, but professionally. And he is none other than Didi Huat Chye. Hi, Didi Huat Chye. How are you?
Hi, hi, good, good. Good afternoon to everybody. Yeah, Suki Hotu.
Yes, Didi Huat Chye. Didi Huat Chye has been a long-time friend of mine, and for those who have heard of his song, I remember you as the writer, the composer of producer of Itzanten, right?
Yes, yes.
And one of your very famous song is 我们流过血汗，古老的轮回, right? But without further ado, I shall let's ask the first chit chat question with Brother Huat Chye. Brother, tell me why you started this group called Xiang Ya Ta, right? Probably in the 80s, and you're focusing on Chinese Buddhist songs. Share with us your why, what inspired you.
Actually, my journey as a Dhamma influencer in music started back in the 70s, late 70s. I also came from the same temple as Datuk Seri, which is a Sekiai temple. Sekiai in Chinese is called Shijiayan. It is a shrine for the Sakyas, actually. So I came from that temple, and the unique thing about the temple is, of course, this temple started by the Baba and the Nyonyas, and they are very colorful people. They are very people who have rich in culture and things like that. So singing has always been part of the thing in a temple. So I went to the temple, and two things that actually motivate me. First, of course, is the environment of the temple that basically allowed people, young people at that time, I was very young then, allowed us to sing and to act, to have drama, which you may not find in many other temples at that time. So that environment really, really helps that. And of course, the other real motivator behind me composing song is, of course, Datuk Seri himself. He started off in the late 70s with some nice locally composed Buddhist songs. And I was thinking, why can't I do the same with the little knowledge that I have about music? Maybe, with the guitar that I can play, I can write something. So I wrote my first song, which is The Wheel of Life in 1978. And of course, Datuk was the one who endorsed the song. Yeah.
Wheel of Life. How do you sing? How high is the mountain? Was that the song?
Yeah. That was written actually after I read a passage from Dhammapada, which basically says that, and long is a night to the sleepless, long is a league to the weary. So I took that and I basically turned that into a song.
All right. To take your attention away to the photo, Brother Wihan, can you show the photo again? There's a very interesting photo. I saw somebody there whom I know. I would like to invite Didi Huat Chye to explain a little bit about the photograph. So while we wait for Brother Wihan to pull up the previous photo, it flashed very quickly. Could you tell the story behind this photo, Brother Didi Huat Chye?
This photo was actually this was a photo taken in I think in 1980s, 88, if I'm not mistaken. This is not a 70s photo. This is after the release of the third Wayfarers album. In the 70s into the 80s, I was with the Wayfarers group itself, with Datuk Seri. We sing a lot of English hymns and songs. Of course, some of the songs I wrote myself. And we produced, as Datuk has introduced, 2 albums. The third album was Nirvana Sweet Release. And that album, basically, I think there was a press conference. So we sang the song, and our good brother Okim Lang from Malacca also sang that's now the song that Datuk Seri sang in the album itself. So in that album called Nirvana Sweet Release. If you can just take a look at the photo, you'll notice there's the word Nirvana Sweet Release. That was the third Wayfarers album. I'm not sure you can notice me there.
Yeah, correct. We are all very young. Yeah? The one seated on the wheelchair, that is Brother O Kim Ling from Malacca. Brother O is also one of my key influencer, and he inspired me a lot in my life, especially in Dhamma practice and writing song. Now, coming back to Brother Huat Chye. Okay, thank you, Brother Wihan, for flashing the photograph. Let's come back. Oh, for those who are new, who just joined us in this live session organized by The Creator in Malaysia, up close and personal with Dhamma music influencers. Welcome. Please key in your questions. Later, we shall see which are some of the interesting questions, and we will ask our guests your questions, and let's hope they answer 1 or 2 of them. Didi Huat Chye, can you tell us about your first album? Your first Chinese album?
Actually, after I've done quite a bit of songs in the in English Buddhist hymn scene, I was also involved with some of the Chinese group because being a Chinese educated, I was thinking at that point in time, why did the Chinese group couldn't also make some innovation in music? At that time, a lot of the Chinese Buddhist hymn came from Taiwan, you know, and you need to have a very good voice, a good piano and a soprano voice in order to sing. So I was thinking, wow, this not going to, you know, attract the youngsters. So I was thinking, why can't we use the same formula we have from Wayfarers, a simple guitar, simple tune that can attract young people. So I took the, you know, opportunity to write maybe my first Chinese Buddhist hymns with guitar, which is called
what was that?
School of the Way. Yeah,
School
that
of
was
the
the
Learned
song.
Way. All right. And how many albums did you produce in Mandarin?
Sorry?
How many albums?
I produced three albums altogether. Yes.
What are the names?
一盏灯, Hui灯, and灯.
Okay, they're all related to light.
Trilogy, you know, you must have three to complete it. So I did three.
All right. So you're the George Lucas. All right, and moving on. Again, those who are new here, please post your questions and share using your watch Facebook live party so that more people can come on board. Now, coming back to Tan Huat Chye, can you share with us how do you think your composition has impacted the music scenes in this part of the world?
I think with Wayfarers, we have impacted a lot of young people at that point in time, especially for varsity students. Those days who have gone to university and joined the Buddhist society, they would have known Wayfarers song because it's so easy to be sung and so easy to be played. That has a lot of influence about those people who may be 50, 60 years old by now. But the Chinese hymns that I produced, I think yes, also have revolutionized the way Chinese Buddhist songs supposed to be written. In fact, that was the first album that we did professionally with a full orchestra, which was recorded in Singapore. So it was a big project to be done. And the reason I did that was because by the early 80s, I was involved in local Buddhist and local music scene. That means I wrote songs for recording artists. And because of that experience that I have, I thought, why don't I use that and then add on with the Dhamma knowledge that I have, produce a very nice, professionally produced Buddhist songs album. And that's how the Ichanten came about.
And what was the reaction from the Buddhist community when they heard Ichanten?
Well, I can only gauge by the kind of number that the album sold. In fact, for less than a year at that time when we launched the album, it was sold about more than 10,000 copies. And eventually, the album went all the way to Singapore, went all the way to Taiwan, mainland China, and also all the way to US. You know, some of the Buddhist centers, especially for Kwangshan, some of them have taken the song over to US and things like that. And the interesting part about this, Brother Daniel, is you know, those days they used to have this pirated tapes in Pasar Malam. And they only will do pirated tape when the album can sell. Then they will do that. And we discovered quite a number of Pasar Malam, they sold the pirated copies of the Ichanten. So that's what the impact has on our community. Yeah.
I remember, I remember seeing in Singapore at the Sibei Law, the Guan Yin Miao there. I think I saw all the Ichanten all selling by the roadside. Well, good and not so good. They're talking about, talking about pirated things. Okay, now let's quickly move on. The last thing before we invite, anybody who have questions to ask, please feel free to drop in the question. Yes, somebody asked a question from Hilson Yip Chi Hing. Hilson, welcome, and then hope you are doing well during this COVID-19. Oh, the question, where you got inspiration to write all these songs, Brother Huat Chye? Thank you, Hilson.
Thanks for the question, Brother Hilson. It's a very good question. We always see a lot of movie scene that when people want to have inspiration to write song, they must at least take a cigarette or do something like that only to get inspiration. But I don't think we do Most composers write song that way. For me, writing songs, the inspiration comes from reading the Dhamma, understanding the Dhamma, and thought, wow, this really touched my heart, and I wanted to put that into a music. That could be one way to look at, to write songs. The other way to look at song is to look at all the time. I think good composers, we observe people, we observe the world, we observe the society, and there's something interesting that comes along that they really, touch your heart, or force you to think about certain issues. You put it into the song. So inspiration can come from any sources, can come from the Dhamma books we read, the observation we see in people's life and our own life, and put it all into the song itself. For example, I wrote the song "Oh Suffering World," if you can recall.
Sang by Brother O Kim Leng, isn't it?
Yes, I wrote that song 3 days before my dad passed away in a hospital, because I was taking care of him every day and to and fro the hospital. And because of that, I basically, as a Buddhist, it's the thought that came, oh, suffering world. You have that feeling. That's how the inspiration came. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. So for those who are new, please continue with your great questions. And thank you, Brother Hilson, for your wonderful questions about where our Brother Huat Chye got his inspiration. Now, the next thing, we're going to fast forward a little bit here. We're going to invite Brother Huat Chye to sing us one of his songs. And are you all ready for the song? If you're ready, type a 1. Yay! Kutang, kutang. Yay! Type 1. That one. Now, Brother Huat Chye, what song will you be sharing with us?
Brother Daniel, why don't I ask you to pick whether you want me to sing English hymns, or you want me to sing a Chinese one?
Let's go for English.
All right. Then I shall sing the first song that I wrote, which was in a way endorsed by Datuk Seri. When those days when you write songs, sometimes we could be short and we think it's a good song, not until people endorse it, so or people criticize it. So I wrote this song, I gave it to Seri, and he likes the song, and he took it and sang it in one of the important functions. So that became my first successful Buddhist song. It's called The Wheel of Life.
And before Brother Huat Chye start, I just want to, for the sake of friends who don't understand Malay language, syuk sendiri means 自己爽, right? 自己爽 means you feel that it's very nice, but only you feel very nice. Sometimes I do that quite a bit. Now over to Brother Huat Chye. The mic is yours.
All right. I only will sing this one verse of this song, The Wheel of Life, and it is written in a country and western style of music. So let's see how it goes. How high is the mountain? How deep is the sea? How long will man learn to live? How blue is the ocean? How green is the tree? How long will man learn to be free? For you shall not go down and down again in the wheel of life, and you shall not go down and down in pain with your fruitless strife. How long is the night to the sleepless one, waiting for the morn to come? How long is the road to the weary one? Carry on the road that he can. For you shall not go round and round again in the wheel of life, and you shall not go down and down again with your fruitless strife. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Brother Huat Chye. Before we go to bring both the speakers, hang on, Mui Han, one moment before we invite both the speakers together for a mini forum before we wrap up. One moment, please, Brother Mui Han. I'm going to give everybody a short quiz. Now, the answer is only true or false, right? If it's true, you put a T. If it's false, you put an F. The first quiz is this. Datuk was once the chief economist of the Malaysia Economic Planning Unit. True or false? T. Datuk was once the chief economist in Malaysia's Economic Planning Unit. The second quiz is DD. Oh, rather, what is DD? DD is Dhamma Duta, the one doing Dhamma work. Now, Tan Huat Chye was once a consultant with the consulting firm called Hay Group, Hay, Hay Group. T for true, F for false. Type in your answer. All right, Bran Wihan, let's call in Datuk and join us in this talk show before we say goodbye to everybody. Thank you, Brother Huat Chye, for your amazing performance. And now let's put our hand together. Welcome two of our speakers. Everybody clap and clap one. It's my first time doing this and I think it's fun. Okay, both of our speakers now on board. Any questions from the participants for both our guests? While you type up your questions, I'm going to ask them something. What would, as a music producer myself, we're very lucky to have been guided by both of you. And along the way, we have produced 7 to 8 albums. One challenge that I constantly face, I'd just like to hear from both of you, is generally the community prefers to copy my CD and not buy. And it is very heartache, and you see people copying and ripping off. What would you like to tell as a composer in the past? What would you tell me when people keep copying my CDs instead of buying?
Well, I think it is a form of flattery. During the time when the music was just on the records, the black records, and then it's not possible. You would have to buy the records yourself. And then later on, they move on to the cassette tape. You can, of course, do some pirate copies, but repeated copying from the pirate tape itself will degrade the sound substantially. So it's actually better for you to buy the original one. But when you come to digitalization, wow, this is actually very good for everybody. But it means that songs are so easily copied. And sometimes the Buddhist community thinks, oh, this is a good song, I like to copy it. For instance, like, Imi Wee's Metta is heard everywhere. If people have bought the original disc from Imi Wee, she'll probably be very, very rich. But unfortunately, most of those copies are really, a digital copying. And people play it because they enjoy, because it is really a very good piece, creation by Imi Wee, but maybe there's a form of flattery. But so I think this is it. The problem is that if we do not buy the original copies, we are not supporting, because there are expenses involved in producing an album. Because I'm the president of Buddhist Jam Fellowship, and you know that we have also funded the 3rd album by the iJams. It costs money to do an album, but in the 3rd album, we think that we're not going to recover. It is just like a sunk cost. You just put in your money and people will just copy the album away. And this is not a way of supporting the Buddhist community. So really, I think the Buddhist community, much as you enjoy the music, you should, as far as possible, buy the original copies in order to show as a show of support. Because producing albums are not free. You will have
it's very expensive.
Thousands of dollars, actually. So
tens of thousands.
We should support each other that way. And of course, it is very easy to do a digital copy. In fact, you can copy it so perfectly because it's digitalized. But let us try to think a little step further, just besides just thinking about ourselves, how we enjoy the music. Think about the producer, think about the singer, song creator as a way of supporting them. As you know, the CD and recording music industry has almost collapsed, because nobody is buying the copies. They're using either old images that they just copy digitally. So that's my take. In order to support the Buddhism, support Buddhist performances, give encouragement to people, and buy original copy as far as possible, in order to support good efforts that we see. Right? Otherwise, we think that the tap will start drying up.
Thank you, Datuk. As I always stress with people, when you copy a CD without asking for permission, you are breaking the precept of taking what is not given. And that is called Andina Dana Veramani Sika Padang Samadhyami. Now we're going to, oh yes, a question came in. Let's check out this question. From B Tan. how are we going to introduce Dhamma songs to the younger generation? And thank you very much, B. Tan. Oh, I'd like to perhaps direct this question to Brother Didi Huat Chye. How are we going to introduce Dhamma songs to the younger generation?
Before I answer that, maybe I'll give Datuk a little bit of time to think about the question, what to say. But I just want to add on to what Datuk has said. Music is an intellectual property. And when it is a composition, it is intellectual property. We get comments from Buddhist community at that point in time who says, all Buddhist things should be free. All distribution of tapes and books should be free. But they forgot that actually Buddhist songs is composition. It is intellectual property, and not to mention the kind of money we have to spend to really produce an album. It comes to tens of thousands of ringgit, and it's sometimes very difficult to recover the cost. And we should acknowledge the good work. And the little thing I request from all Buddhist leaders in the country, whenever you use a Buddhist songs and it is a composition, please give credit to the composer and the lyricist. It's important to give credit, because I see a lot of time they put out the name of the song, the composers and releases are not given the due credit. I think they should do that from now onward. Yeah, that's a request if they can do it. Yeah.
Okay,
Datuk, you may have to answer that, but then I will add on. Yeah.
So back to Datuk, the question of how we can introduce songs to the younger generation. But again, young, we don't mean how young, we don't know how young, so we have to assume Datuk.
Yes, I think there is no problem introducing songs to young people, especially if the songs they enjoy singing. And there are many levels of songs. I think Buddhist songs must be written in such a way that it actually comes from the purity of the heart and it soothes the mind. That is the kind of music that we like Buddhist music to be like. If you begin to have like heavy metal rock music, I don't think that is appropriate for the Buddhist tradition. Now, Buddhist songs need not be complicated. It can actually be simple. But and when we introduce a song and the children sing the song, they love the songs, that is the best way of introducing Dhamma to them. Because it almost like reinforces each time when they sing the lyrics, they sing the songs, the lyrics get reinforced in their mind. So this is actually a very good way and very good and enjoyable way in order to introduce the music to young people. And I find that it becomes, it also adds variety to the Dhamma classes. So Dhamma classes is not just lectures by the teacher, but also activity. The activity is to sing. But I do know that there are some people, some children who are not so musically inclined. But some of them could be they cannot sing in tune, right? So sometimes they feel left out. So in that case, there might be some kind of activity that the teachers can get them to do something like play some kind of instrument or things like that, so that they have a sense of participation. But for those who are musically inclined, my goodness, if they hear a song, they actually want to go to the center again and again because they love the song.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. All right, thank you, Datuk.
My view is this for the young people. It must be written by the young people themselves, So if it's not written by the young people, it's very difficult. You see, we were young once, so we were writing the songs of that era, and of course, Datuk, if you agree, there's an era after the folk songs era, then the country and westerns, a little bit of pop at that time. So the music was along that line. But today, the youngsters don't just listen to those music anymore. They listen to a very different breed of music altogether, hip hop and other things that came along. So we have to write songs which is along more that direction. And the arrangement also has changed tremendously for the last 30 years. So we can't be arranging the same way we arranged 30 years ago. So that's the only way to get closer to the younger generation. Of course, not to mention the content and things like that. Yeah.
So it has to be relevant to our daily life, yeah? And I always ask this question when I produce all the Come and See series of songs. And I ask, not writing Buddhist songs perspective, I always think that what are the kind of songs that will attract children to listen? And when you think from that perspective, applying the Buddhist teaching, it works better. Now, we've got quite a few questions. But before I pull out the questions, I'm going to share with everybody that for those who enjoy this session, next Sunday at 4 p.m., we will have 2 more guests coming on board on this talk show. They are Brother Daniel Kwok and Niwen from the iGEM. iGEM is, consider iGEM as the second generation of the Wayfarer. Now we've got another question here. Just let me take a look. So this question is by Brother Ben. Brother Ben asked a question to Didi Huat Chye. In the current Buddhist community, can you name any Buddhist singing group that potentially will have strong influence on the Dhamma outreach in Malaysia, Singapore, or around the world? Over to you. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think in the context of Malaysia, I think
Or
IJAM
Singapore,
yeah, Malaysia and Singapore. I mean, IJAM songs are good songs, and they should be able to reach out to a lot of young people, or those younger than us in the sense, you know. Of course, in Indonesia, they have a lot of other groups that sings. You got Erwin Wangso, who has come out with his own brand of songs that he has produced. So I think these are some of the later development that is happening in the English Buddhist group scene.
And for me, I'm following the footsteps of our two speakers here, producing the song. It's called D Kids, Dhamma Kids songs. We released 5-7 albums over the past 20 years. Now, we have one last...
Can I also add in
yes.
I think another group that I can also mention that will have an influence on young people is the Bodhi group. They of course sing Chinese songs, but they have actually, I was very surprised when the Bodhi group in Malaysia was formed, because they were formed like 25 years ago. And when they came up with the idea of trying to meet every week just using songs, it sounds as if it is a very difficult way of sustaining the group, but they have actually sustained the group for so long. And
how long?
And also using that platform to train musicians, performers, and all that. And it has just a tremendous effect. They go around using music as an instrument for spreading Dhamma. I think they have also done very well. But I could actually see in the horizon that there are some other new groups coming up, and we're looking forward for their works, really.
Yeah. In fact, do you all know that the one of the past Bodhi president is actually our Venerable Ajahn Chajino. He was part of this Puthi Chita. Yeah, you see, some of them has gone onto the spiritual path and is doing well. We have a last comment, and this comes from a Singaporean friend. Okay, so Mui Huan, you share this, yeah? Right. Can we just quickly comment first, and then I'll come to invite the speaker to comment on this photo, then tell a quick story. We have a friend in Singapore. I think she is online now. Her name is Dr. Ko Lee Wen. Lee Wen, if you are online, just say hi to everybody. Dr. Ko Lee Wen is from Malaysia, and she shared this with me because back in the olden days, between 1988 to 1990. She was a secondary school student at Damansara Jaya Secondary School, Selangor, and she joined the Buddhist Society. And then every week, you have speakers to give Dhamma talk. And one of them, Dr. Victor, your sister Ivy, and Brother Huat Chye. And she said that because of you people, she became a very devoted Buddhist. And she is a practicing doctor now. Her hubby is also a doctor, Ho Yu Chin. Both volunteered to take care of the COVID-19 patients in the hospital. What have you got to say, both of you, when you hear such inspiring comment from your juniors?
I think my personal view is we always play down on the, especially in the Buddhist community, we play down on the importance of hymns. Of course, we know hymns won't take us to nirvana, but hymns definitely will have a lot of power to move people's heart and to get inspired by the Dhamma through the music itself. And in my, my years of doing Dhamma Tuta work, I have time and time again, people come back to me and says, thank you for your nice songs. Because of that, I know I get in touch with Buddhism, and this is where I am today. So I think the power is enormous. Unfortunately, we do not tap on this a lot in our community. Maybe we should start doing that a lot more.
Yeah, I also am struck with the idea that maybe as Buddhist outreach, we should try to reach out to the schools more. In Malaysia at one time, it was okay for schools have Buddhist societies, but sometimes at some stage of our education policy, it becomes much more difficult for us to hold, Buddhist society meetings in school. And also sometimes for the school societies to run, you also need to have good leaders. So some years where the students themselves are trained in the Dhamma, they can run the society very well, but after a few years, it disappears. It is the same thing with the universities also. Some years they've got very good group, a crop of people who becomes very devoted and become outstanding, actually, Buddhist contributors to the community. But some years it becomes dry. And actually, if you can actually reach out to the schools, it becomes fantastic. Maybe we should try to do much more of this. That is Dr. Ko.
Dr. Ko, Dr. Ko Lee Wan. Hi.
Yeah,
I'm very happy to know that you have benefited from our inputs during your school days, Dr. Ko.
yeah. We'd love to meet you one of these days. Yeah.
When the COVID has settled down, when in Singapore, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And for those who just joined us, this is a Decrader event, an up close and personal with Dhamma music influencer. Coming back to this picture, would like to invite both speakers, starting with Datuk, to talk a bit about the story behind this picture. Datuk?
Okay, I'm not sure whether this picture looks anything like us. Okay, could you just blow up the picture?
Can Brother Wihan just pull up, zoom up the picture, one of the pictures, the same picture you show? Yeah. Thank you very much.
This picture
Who is this handsome man?
This picture was taken in Penang, and we were preparing. This was almost it's running through our rehearsal before an evening performance in the Civic Hall in Penang. So
all right.
The two people down there, I'm not sure whether it looks anything like us. The one in the t-shirts, the striped t-shirt is actually me playing the guitar, and the other one closer to the left is actually Brother Huat Chye. So there's a picture of during our younger days, just getting ready for a concert that will be held in the evening in Penang.
All right. Coming to concert, Brother Huat Chye, how many concerts have you participated in your career, singing Buddhist concert?
Can't remember. I lost count of the concerts. But we did, every time there's an album launch, we always have to prepare some kind of performance somewhere. So there were quite a number. I think the most memorable concert that I ever performed was after the release of the Each Anthem. We had a big concert in Malacca. It's in Dewan Hang Tuah, Malacca. And we were, some of the Sangyata singers were singing. And then we got all these young audience at the back, flashing their lights and showing some things. And the whistle blow, so it's just like a concert for the celebrity. So that was a very memorable concert,
Dato, I want perhaps the last couple of questions that I want to address to Dato. I perform, I have the honor to be invited to perform in Malaysia many times in my life. And I feel that, and I remember there was once we performed at Dewan Hang Tuah, because my wife is one, she's outside, she's from Malacca. And I got to invite to sing at Dewan Hang Tuah. And I also performed in different parts of the world in Singapore. And I noticed that the audience in Malaysia the response is different. What makes the response so overwhelming when people sing in Malaysia, Dato?
Yes, I think because if it's Dewan Hang Tuah, that was in Malacca, was that?
Yes.
The performance was in Malacca. Malacca has a strong Buddhist music tradition. The people enjoy music, and chances are that the people in the temple would have heard the songs, so they could actually usually, when you understand the songs and when you see the singers performing the songs live, it really gets you excited. And it is because of the environment that's created within the temple, within the community itself. So it was sort of like an overwhelming. They sing the songs, but it is different when you actually see the performers coming and performing the songs like the way you have heard it from the CDs, right? So that really, a lot of enthusiasm. And maybe this is the way that Buddhist music should go. We should actually get the centers to be involved in playing the music, singing the songs as a way of, spreading the Buddhist culture. So when that happens, each time when you have a performance, the response is quite overwhelming.
Okay. Thank you, Dato. And then next question I'd like to address to a different question for Didi Huat Chye is we know that Didi Huat Chye is in the business consultant, same as myself. And in the business consultancy project, you look at structure, you look at intervention, coaching, training, and per se. Yeah? And in order for more centers or more countries to be like the Sikya-in effect, is what Dato mentioned. Coming from Didi Huat Chye, what must the Buddhist community start to think about in a more strategic perspective for these hymns to take root in our culture in Dhamma propagation? Didi Huat Chye?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think it's a very good question. I think in any organization, we talk about climate. That means in Chinese, we call qi hou. What's the climate in the temple? Does it encourage the young or does it not encouraging the young? Does it encourage him or does it not encouraging? It's a climate. And normally this climate is created by the leaders. If the leaders don't see the importance, they're not going to push for it. They're not going to, initiate anything like that. And they're not also going to encourage youngsters to come forward and do things like that. So the climate is very important in any organization. I mean, in the corporate world, we talk about corporate climate. In Buddhist centers, we also have their own climate. Some temple, you go in there, you don't feel like going back again. That kind of climate. Some other organization, Buddhist center, you go there, you really feel the want to come back again and again. It's a climate. And this climate is created by who? The leaders themselves. The leaders are very important. Why we started him was because the late chief was encouraging us and was defending us, and the climate for it to grow was there. Unfortunately, these days, those people who are leading Buddhist organization, some of them are trying that, but some of them are not putting that as an important effort. In fact, I would encourage two things. Maybe we should have more Buddhist hymn competition starting from now, to encourage more youngsters to participate, either to write songs or to sing. Two, I think in any Buddhist functions, unless there are monks there, if not, we should always begin with some Buddhist hymns and songs. Then we go into the talk or any other things. I think that will encourage the climate of singing Buddhist hymns comes back again. That's important. Yeah.
Very good question, very good answer by Tan Huat Chye. And now we have come to the end of our session organized by D Creator, Up and Close and Personal with Dhamma music influencers. And today we are very honored to have Datuk Sri Victor and Tan Huat Chye. Thank you very much for participating. And before we ask, I throw a last question for both of them. Please give them a round of applause. Type 1, click, 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 click. Okay, I sound like a duck. Right, the last comment is, do remember next session, next Sunday at 4 o'clock, we have with us iGEM, Daniel Kwok, Daniel Kwok, not Daniel Yeo, Daniel Kwok and Niwen. They will share with us their journey post-Wayfarers, iGEM. All right, so do pay attention now to both our speakers, our guests here. What will be a kind of a word of moments of inspirational words for the aspiring hymns writers all Buddhist leaders present in this Facebook Live in using music to promote Dhamma? What would you like to tell them?
My take
Datuk?
My take is that to the young people, please use your life well. Don't waste your human life. You would have many potentials. Develop yourself. Try to aim for excellence, but just don't try to look after yourself alone. Think about others and use something from you in order to contribute to the community. And then the rewards that you get back will be quite fantastic beyond what you can actually imagine. Do something that is selfless, that is to benefit others, besides benefiting yourself.
Thank you, Datuk. Tan Huat Chye?
Yeah, I go back to Dhammapada 182. The Dhammapada says, rare is the birth as a human being. We're all fortunate to be born as human being, and some of us are talented. We're born with certain talent and capability. Use that capability and talent to benefit not just yourself, but I think the bigger community as a whole, the bigger group of people as a whole. So if you are young, or even you may not be young, but you may be adults in certain age, but you have the capability, please contribute. And music is an area that you can help out. You either write songs, you sing songs, you produce songs, or you even, basically promote the songs. You can do all this. And if you can do that, the Buddhist music will continue for many more years to come to influence the community, especially the young ones. So we need to continue this legacy in a sense. We need to continue this good practice that we have, which we have innovated 40 years ago, perhaps, but it should not die just like that. We should continue that, that tradition, the new traditions.
Thank you very much, Datuk Victor and Tan Huat Chye. To end up today's live Facebook, I would like to share what Brother O Kim Ling told me, and have always been part of my guiding pillar in my life when I do Dhamma work. Brother Kim Ling told me, Daniel, when you do things, when you produce music for children, do not be mediocre. And this is what I heard from our two speakers. Be professional, have the heart for Dhamma, be successful in life as we practice Dhamma, and share it out. Am I right, both speakers?
Yeah. Very
Yes,
good.
everybody, a big thumbs up and goodbye and click one, clap. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning to The Creators event, up personal and up close with Dhamma Music Influencer next week on Sunday, 4 p.m. Do join us for another second round with the iGEM. Koo, Ni Wen, and Daniel Kwok will be here to share with us their inspiration, their moments of inspiration. Thank you very much, and Brother Mui Han, it's over to you to end this live telecast.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Mui Han, actually, for being the main producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our job is easy. We just talk. Sadhu. Thank you, friends from